from super wet, rainy Maui. I wanted to do this video outside, but it won't stop raining, so I have to do it in here. So I was on a whale watch a week or two ago, and the naturalist on board mentioned in passing about how the humpback whale was saved by its song. And I was like, you know what, that's beautiful, and I remember hearing about that, but I don't know too much about it, so I'm gonna do some research into it. And the more I researched it, the more I decided that I should share it with everyone so you all could know how the North Pacific humpback was saved by its song, because it's a pretty cool story. It's a long story, and I'm trying to tell you the short version, but even the short version is kind of long, so just bear with me. So we can start in 1959 with a guy named Frank Watlington, and he was working for the military as a sound engineer, and his job was to try to record Russian submarines that came into the area, and he ended up picking up the whale song in his recordings, and he was like, what's that? That's a really strange sound. It was like all this moaning and squealing, and listened to it more, ended up studying about it, found out that it was in fact the humpback whale song, and that it was repeating itself, so it was in fact a song. Around the same time, there's a gentleman named Roger Payne, and he was in university. He was actually studying bats and owls at the time, and he heard that there was a humpback whale that washed up on shore. So we went down to check it out, and it was being totally disrespected. People were carving their initials in it, putting cigarette butts in its blowhole, just being donkeys, and he decided that his new plight was the whale, and he switched everything and started studying the humpback whales. So fast forward to 1966, Roger Payne and Frank Watlington meet up in Bermuda, and Frank shares all of his recordings with Roger and his wife Katie, and they in turn decide to spend the next 3 years collecting as many whale recording songs as they can. 1969, they went to a Judy Collins concert and somehow made it backstage, shared the recordings of the humpback whale song with Judy Collins, and she ended up making a record called Whales and Nightingales, featuring a song called Farewell to Tarwathie, and the album ended up going gold. Judy Collins donated a huge portion of the record proceeds to Roger Payne. Roger Payne made a record called, I think it was called Song of the Humpback is pretty much, I think, what it was called. Anyway, so his record ends up going gold, and he takes the record, at 1972, he takes the record to a Greenpeace meeting. At the time, there was only 12 members of Greenpeace, and they were just getting started out, and he shares with them the humpback whale videos, recordings, and they end up starting the Save the Whale program. So Save the Whale program takes the recordings and just blasts them everywhere. They were in National Geographic. They actually put a floppy disk recording of the song in every single National Geographic magazine that came out that month, and it sold over 10 million copies. And they literally blasted the humpback whale song. They would go up to whaling boats and blast the song. So, and they said that there would be like hundreds of people just standing, these whaling guys, just standing on the deck of this boat, just staring out and listening to the humpback whale song. So it's hard to tell what effect that actually had on the hunter guys, but in 1986, the Save the Whale movement triumphed. The International Whaling Commission voted to ban all commercial whaling, and that is how the humpback whale was saved by its song.